So here we have the Kohler Touchless pull-down kitchen faucet. It doesn't actually have a brand on it, which is a bit odd. This was sourced from Costco, but looking through the site, it's clearly a Malleco or a Sensate. The difference between the Sensate and the Malleco appears to be that the Sensate has options for voice, which if you're handicapped probably makes a lot of sense, but I'm not and my family is not, so for us it's not particularly useful. So that's the box. You can see it's hands-free. Okay, so we have a, if you like this product, tell everybody. We have a warranty card, which I don't care about. We have a, hey, if you'd like, you can buy an AC adapter instead of using the batteries. Don't care. I don't have power under my sink. And we have the installation kit, which is just going to be a bunch of screenshots of how to do things. Let's just take a look here. So let's pull out the components and see what we get. So that is the soap dispenser, and that is really not the focus of this, so I'm going to just put this aside for the moment. Batteries. Batteries will go with the battery pack, so I'll put that over here as well and get it out of the way. So that's the soap dispenser. And then here's the main event. All right, so let's pull this apart. Okay, so this is a magnet fit, which is quite nice. And when you press the button over here, this is supposed to change to a flat spray. Swivel, yep. But under here is the sensor. And we have your typical hot and cold. And we have the electronic connector as well. Let's put this aside for the moment. We have a base plate, which we are not going to use because our sink does not support it and we don't like them. So this is optional, we're not going to use it. Put that aside. This is the switching kit that, so I'll open this up so you can take a look at it. This is the unit that manages the hands-free. If you want it to be in hands-free, you leave it to where it is. If you don't want it in hands-free, you take a screwdriver or your finger or whatever, a penny, dime, whatever, and you turn it to be straight up and down, as you can see here. We're going to leave it where it is. The weight, when it actually does weigh a bit, that's just going to pull a cord back in for you. So analog is great for that. A couple of adapters, and then the fittings for the faucet. Let's see if there's anything else under here. There is not. Okay, so you can see here we've pulled out the old Delta faucet and we're replacing it with this Kohler, and you can see that there's just grudge around here. So we could get some razor blade and scrape it off, or I think I can just wash this off because there's not so much here. You want to make sure that this is super clean so that it gets a nice tight fit. Otherwise you'll have water running down your sink when you get water, you get water down under your sink when you have water up here, which shouldn't happen a lot, but you just know it will. There, you can see on the left, that's the full layout of how this is supposed to be set up. And on the right, you'll see it's got the shank, which is the brass fittings. Then you've got a gasket. And you've also got the cover plate. Now, the cover plate we don't care about because it doesn't fit with our layout. So we're just going to ignore it, but I'll pull it out and show it to you. And you'd put your cover plate down, and then you would take this, and you'll notice on this that there are two notches, and those notches fit over there perfectly. And that tightens down very, very nicely. So, okay, so I've taken the washer and O-ring kit apart. There it is. These two go on the bottom. This screws in with the washer on top. And then you use a screwdriver or a nut driver to tighten it up further. And on top, you have a gasket, which is this guy, and also this gasket. I want to make sure that that little rubber gasket is down, is pointing down. Put it over all of the cables, including the electric cable. There we go, and that sits in there very tightly, and there's a notch there, and these need to line up, and it will fit in nicely. Okay, so let's just put these cables, all of the cables, and flex hoses through the hole. So here I'm just going to pull the cables down from underneath. Power cable, we certainly don't want to pinch that. There we go. And then we're going to drop it in the hole. Okay, so just before we drop this in, just remember that that rubber has to be on the ground, on the bottom. And that other washer, there we go, needs to be inside. So there we go. So that is now in there nice and solid. And there's a rubber gasket under there, so it's awesome. Okay, so now I'm under the sink, and what I need to do is get the washer and the brass fitting on. So I gotta slide those over the cables. All right, so you have to make sure that those screws are facing down. And you just put that up, make sure the washer's on top to spread the weight out. The pressure out, I should say, not weight. And just thread it on. Okay, so it's always handy to have somebody up the top holding that thing straight for you. Okay, so here I've got to back this screw off because I thought it was backed out, but it wasn't. So I'm just gonna unscrew it a bit. Okay, so now I can continue to spin it around, but now I've got that backed off a bit. There we go. And as you can see in my sink, it's not completely flush because the washer is touching the sink. And that's not going to be a problem because of this awesome design. It's not great, but it is not going to be a crisis. Okay, I had to put down the camera for a second because I wanted to tighten this brass fitting down with 2 hands. So I put it as hard as I could with 2 hands. And now I'm going to tighten it down with the screwdriver just to give it that extra crank. You don't want to crack your wood or your arborite or your granite, onyx, or whatever else. So you don't want this to be too tight, but you definitely want it to be cranked down. There we go. Done. So I've had somebody go up top and shake it around, and that thing's not moving. It's in there nice and solid. Let's connect the hot and cold, which are cleverly labeled. At least they better be. Yep, cold. And that makes the other one hot. And actually, while we're doing this, let's attach the weight right here because it says to, and it's super easy to do. So this is just a clip-on weight. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to put the weight here, and because it says to, and clip it down. There we go. So that's the weight done. If your pipes are not labeled and you have a dishwasher, the hot one probably goes to the dishwasher. So in my case, I know that the one on the left is my hot and the one on the right is my cold. I could have labeled them before I pulled them off, but I didn't bother. So I'm just going to put this on finger tight to start with. And I want to squirrel that cable away. Get the power out of here. There we go. I know you can't see the hot one, but just trust me, it's there. And I'm putting this on finger tight. Of course, this is a bit wet, so it's slippery. Okay, there it is, and I want this cable to be up out of the way. The less stuff under here that you can see, the better. And if your hot and cold aren't the same type of connector or the same size, male and female, this kit comes with adapters. Before we go any further, let's crank those cold and hot water down because that is a very big deal to get wrong. And if you leave it and forget about it, you'll be in hell. So you could have a serious water leak and that will be a serious problem. So I'm just using 2 adjustables because that's what I have handy right now. I can tell you that this is 16 millimeter. So you don't want to over tighten them, but you want them to be firm. Tuck your cables out of the way as best you can. Now, if you didn't have an electronic kit, you could simply connect this straight into the hose and then the tap would work as you would expect. The water, hot and cold, go up to the mixer. The mixer then sends the water down through here and out through the tap. So, however, we have an electronic kit because it's hands-free. Okay, so the hot and cold water are here, and they go up into the mixer, then it comes down this chute here, and then it goes back up this line here out to your tap. So you'll see that the electronic switch has an in and out, and that's simply what you do. You just pop that on, and I was a bit surprised to see it doesn't bolt into the wall, but it doesn't. You just pop it up and it clicks in. When you hear it click, as I think you just did, you're done with that. Now what you need to do is connect the electronic wire to it. Just going to put these 2 connectors together, and that will leave the one coming off the bottom of the box, which then goes to the battery pack. Tuck your cables out of the way as best you can. The hot water lines, the cold water lines, get them out of the way as best you can. Next thing, the fitting for the tap. So this screws on and then just snaps in. So I'm going to now screw this on, hand tight, not any tighter than hand tight. There we go, nice and tight. Take your water line, snap it in. Now here I have to put the power line in. Here's the battery pack. Let's just undo it. See what's in here. Yeah, this is really nothing but something that combines these batteries. So I'm just going to pop these in. There it goes like that. Well, you want to make sure that this cable, it reaches far enough for your battery pack. So I'm just going to pop this one right here, and that's not particle board, so I am happy. There it is. It's in there nice and solid. Now I can just hang my battery pack on there. Right there. There it is. Beautiful. And I can also then, while I'm here, plug this in. Now, I don't want these wires just hanging around, so I'm going to wrap it around, but you don't have to do this. Okay, so this sort of screws in, which was a bit of a surprise. There we go. There, it's nice and tight now. There we go. And now I can easily lift this battery pack off and take it if I need to in the future to change the batteries. Now, if I were to try to turn this on, it wouldn't work. Do you know why? There's the hint right there. Because the water supplies are turned off. So I'm just going to turn them on. Watch for leaks here. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so no leaks. That sounds good. Let's take it up top and see what we get here. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is turn the handle on. You can hear it charging. There we go. And the switch is working. So, only two things to note. One, apparently if you leave the water running, it will turn off automatically after 4 minutes. So that's the first thing to know. The second thing to know is that the manual says do not use lithium-ion rechargeable batteries. I don't know why, but I don't suggest you screw around with it. If it says not to, there's probably a good reason. So let's show you a couple other features. So let's turn this on, pull this out, and you can see it's on spray. I'm going to press the button over here, change it back just to water, and if I just let it hang up, it magnetically goes back in, plus that weight at the other end. Okay, now we have the soap bottle to install, which is pretty straightforward. Unscrew these two components. Pop that on like that, and then put it through the hole. So I couldn't hold the camera and do this, so all I've done is screw that grommet in, and then I tightened it up finger tight, nice and firm. And then I literally jammed the plastic tube into the middle of it. And now all I have to do is screw the bottle on. And the bottle just screws into the bottom. That is a full installation of the Malleco from Kohler that was sourced at Costco. And that's it. If you have any questions or concerns, please get a hold of us at www.urtech.ca. Thank you. Bye-bye.